Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Fanadian here. I'd like to welcome you all to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the Miami Dolphins offensive line situation heading into training camp. I'm super excited for training camp to start as it starts tomorrow, and this is the final position group I'm going to be talking about because I've covered all the other main ones. So let's get started here. We're on MiamiDolphins.com. Just like I did in all the other videos, I'm going to go over who's currently on the team, who do I think is going to make the final 53-man roster, and then I'll just end the video with some general thoughts on the position group overall. So let's get started here with center Matt Skura, who just signed with the team on a one-year deal, spent his first 4 years in the NFL playing with the Ravens, had a really solid season in 2018, unfortunately had a season-ending injury in 2019, but had a pretty good bounce back year in 2020, was ranked both top 10 in pass block win rate and run block win rate, which is super good to see from your center, but he did have some big snapping issues that he is going to have to work on coming into the season, especially if he wants to be the team's long-term solution to our center problems, because this is now Brian Flores' third year as the head coach for the Dolphins, and this is the third center that the team has had. Next up is Cameron Tom, has essentially spent his whole career playing on the Saints practice squad, going to be trying to make the Dolphins practice squad this season. And Michael Dieter was drafted by the Finns in 2019 in the third round, ended up starting for them that year at guard, had a really rough rookie year. In 2020, ended up losing his starting job to Solomon Kindley, who the team drafted, and pretty much spent the whole season on the bench. The team decided that they're going to start cross-training him on how to play center because we didn't have a backup center, and now he has kind of taken over the role as the team's main backup center. It's just that we haven't actually seen him play a game at center yet, so we'll have to see how he actually does if he ends up having to step in and back up Skura if something happens. He did play one game last year against against New England when both Flowers and Kinley were injured, and he played pretty good at that in that game. So it would be nice to see him kind of develop more here for the Finns. If we scroll down here, I think we should see the guards next. And first up is Robert Jones, undrafted free agent from Middle Tennessee State, 22 years old. The thing with Jones is usually I'd just be like, normal camp body, undrafted free agent, but the team gave him $130,000 in guaranteed money, which is like over twice of what undrafted free agents normally get. So there's a lot of people saying that the Finns like Robert Jones, and for an undrafted guy, he has a pretty good shot at making the 53-man roster. Next up is Solomon Kindley, drafted by the Finns last year in the fourth round, and probably played better than anyone expected him to play. He ended up taking the starting left guard spot from right guard spot, not left guard spot. He started at left guard in college, played right guard for the Finns in his first year, ended up playing a couple games at left guard when Flowers was injured, and those were probably his best games. The thing I like about Kinley is he's just an absolute mauler. He likes to go out there and just attack the defensive line and not just block them. And you see him just pushing and moving guys out of the way constantly, which makes me think that him and Robert Hunt could become a pretty strong guard duo here for the Finns. So very excited to watch him develop here coming into year two, because even though he did have a pretty solid rookie year, he definitely still needs to improve. Durval Queneros Nito, definitely did not pronounce that right. Joined the Finns through the International Players Program through Brazil. Has spent his first few years in the league just on the practice squad, adapting to the NFL. Originally joined the team as a defensive tackle, but they swapped him over to guard. So we'll have to see what happens with the Nito experiment and how long they keep it up for, because as of right now, he doesn't count towards a roster spot because he's part of the International Players Program. But we'll have to see what happens in the future once he starts, counting towards the team's 53-man roster, if they decide they want to keep on with trying to develop him. Personally, I hope things work out for him, just because I think it would be a really cool story. Next up is Jesse Davis, the guard slash tackle. Essentially, just the team's, jack of all trades, can play every single position on the O-line. If you need him to step in from an injured player, he can do that, and he did show he could do that last year. He originally started off as the team's starting right tackle last year, but lost his starting job to Robert Hunt, a rookie. He did step in for multiple games for injured players and played pretty good, specifically in that San Francisco 49ers game where he played left tackle. That was probably his best game of the season, and I'm expecting him to, maintain the same role with the team this year and just be the team's main backup, and you never know, might end up starting at right tackle again if Eichenberg needs some time to develop. Robert Hunt, Probably of all the rookies that they drafted for the offensive line last year, the one I'm the most excited for coming into year two. I thought he showed a ton of potential, and towards the end of the season, he started playing really good. And one thing he did show last year is consistent development. Like I said, he started off the season on the bench, just slowly improved every single week, eventually won that starting right tackle job from Jesse Davis. And then towards the end of the season, PFF had him rated as one of the top right tackles in the league. So this guy has shown a ton of potential. Super excited for him. The thing about Robert Hunt that's cool is he actually played right guard a lot in college, and there was a lot of draft experts that said they think he'll actually be a better right guard than right tackle. And if rumors are true, the Finns are moving him to right guard from right tackle, so it will be interesting to see him and Kinley and how they can develop as a guard duo. Because if these two guys can develop and Matt Skura comes in and plays good year one, the team will have a really like tier year one of the team, I should specify. The team will have a really strong core in the center of this O line that will just be mauling dudes and will really help out the team's run game, which has struggled. Next up, looking at the O line, I don't know why they just have Jermaine Illuminar and DJ Fluker just listed as O linemen. Maybe because they do play multiple positions, as both guys have played both right guard and right tackle. Jermaine Illuminar coming from the Patriots, where he started 8 games for them last season, and DJ Fluker coming for the Ravens. He also started 8 games for them last year. Both these guys played pretty solid when they did start for their respected teams, and are two just really good veteran backups. If you guys watch my videos, you know I love mixing in some veteran players with the young guys here, so definitely nice to have them on the team. We'll see if they make the final 53-man roster. And kind of like Jesse Davis, if Liam Eichenberg or one of these young guys takes some time to develop, I could see one of these guys starting for the Finns at the start of the season here. Now, if we scroll all the way down to tackles, we'll have Larnell Coleman. Got drafted by the team in the 7th round here, coming from UMass, a bit of a smaller school, 23 years old. The thing about Larnell is he just has all the great athletic and genetic traits of great right tackle here. So we'll have to see what happens with him. The Finns drafted him in the 7th round, but a lot of people predicted he would go in the 5th, so might end up being a bit of a steal for the Dolphins if he ends up making the team. It's just that there is a lot of competition for these backup offensive line spots this season. Jonathan Hubbard, not too much to say about this guy. Joined the team last year as an undrafted free agent, didn't end up playing in any games. Austin Jackson, drafted by the team in the 1st round last year, 18th overall, 21 years old, so super young coming from USC. Had a nice start to the season, but had an unfortunate ankle injury, and after that, it was pretty rough for him. I'm not going to lie, didn't look too great for Austin Jackson out there. I know there's a lot of people out there kind of doubting the guy, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt because this guy is super young, and when he did get drafted, a lot of the experts said this is a guy that's going to take 3 years to fully develop and get the position down, so not going to completely give up on Austin Jackson. Think he can really improve coming into year two, as he does, have a lot of room to grow here, and really hoping he can step it up coming into year two because that would be absolutely huge for this O-line. Adam Pankey was originally picked up off of waivers by the team in 2019, I believe, from the Packers. Has essentially served as a backup offensive tackle here. Has come in whenever they've run 6 O-line sets on the goal line or something. They will bring him in as that extra swing tackle. Other than that, hasn't really done too much for the team. Going to try to compete to maintain his spot on the roster or try to make the practice squad here. And Timon Paris here just joined the team on a 1-year deal. Spent his whole career as a backup for the Washington football team and is going to try to make it as a backup for the Finns here, or try to get onto the practice squad. And there is one last guy here, and he's all the way at the bottom of the website because he's the only unsigned draft pick left, and that is tackle Liam Eichenberg. Hopefully the team signs him soon. Has spent 3 years playing with Notre Dame in college, where he played left tackle. In those 3 years where he started, never gave up a single sack, which is a very impressive stat. So very excited to see what happens with Liam here in his first year with the Finns. A lot of people are saying they're probably going to move him to right tackle since Austin Jackson plays left tackle, but we don't really know where these guys are going to be lining up. The thing about Eichenberg is, all the draft experts said, is he is kind of that really high floor, not extremely high ceiling guy, where he doesn't have that super build that a dude like Larnell Coleman has, but he's just an all-around super solid player. Like I said, didn't give up a single sack in college, super consistent, knows what he's doing, and can just come in and contribute right away, hopefully. So let's go over who I think is going to make the team. Last year, the Dolphins had 9 offensive linemen on the 53-man roster, so is try and pick 9 dudes here again. So if I think the Dolphins are picking 9 guys, they're obviously picking Matt Skura as the starting center. I think they also take Michael Dieter again as the team's main backup center. If we go down to guards, I think that Solomon Kinley's going to make the team and Robert Hunt's going to make the team. And I also think Jesse Davis will make the team again. And then looking at these tackles, I got Austin Jackson and the rookie Liam Eichenberg making the squad, which just leaves us with 2 guys left to make the team. It is pretty much impossible to pick who these 2 guys are, as pretty much anyone can make it, as the Finns aren't really super committed to any of these players. But I think the most likely option for the team is these 2 guys here, Eichenberg and Fluker. I said Eichenberg, I meant to say Illuminar. The 2 E names are messing me up here, but Illuminar and Fluker I think can both make the squad just because of their veteran experience. But if Lernell Coleman or Robert Jones has a very strong training camp and preseason, I could see one of those guys making the main 53-man squad as well. So just to go over that again, hopefully I don't mess this up. I got Matt Skura, Michael Dieter, Austin Jackson, Liam Eichenberg, Robert Hunt, Solomon Kinley, Jesse Davis, Jermaine Illuminor, and DJ Fluker all making it to the 53-man squad. But like I said, if one of these young guys like Lernell Coleman really pops off in training camp, I could see them stealing one of those backup spots here. So let's just get into some general thoughts on the position group overall. I think the main question coming into this season and training camp is just going to be how much can these young guys improve. I definitely think they will improve, but how much, right? Will they just stop being a bottom 5 O-line and improve to being a bottom 10 O-line, or can they really become a middle of the pack or better offensive line? Because I think the offensive line struggling last year is really what held back the offense the most, right? If your O-line's playing good, it's going to make your quarterback play good because he has more time. Your wide receivers have more time to get open. Your running backs have more holes to run through, and your tight ends don't have to do as much blocking and can focus more on catching the ball, and obviously will also have more time to get open. So if the O-line can improve, it's going to make our whole offense improve. If they don't improve, our offense is going to struggle again this year in 2021. So hopefully all these guys can develop. It's extremely rare for a team to draft 3 O-linemen and for all 3 of them to become, studs, but hopefully that can happen with Austin Jackson, Solomon Kinley, and Robert Hunt. Obviously, we should also hope that Liam Eichenberg could come in here year 1 and contribute. The other big question is going to be, obviously, where are all these guys going to be playing, right? Is Robert Hunt going to be moving to right guard? And then when that happens, are we keeping Kinley as a guard, and is he moving to left guard? Some people are saying Austin Jackson might be a better guard than tackle. Does he move to guard? Does Liam Eichenberg play left tackle or right tackle? What happens with these vets? If, Fluker makes the team, does he play right guard? And then maybe they liked Hunt at tackle. We don't know. We're just going to have to wait for training camp to see where they're playing all these guys. The Dolphins do cross-train all their players, so they're going to be playing at all the different O-line positions. So they'll get a test to see how they do all across the O-line at all the different spots. And I'm guessing they'll just pick based off of who does best at what position. The other thing is going to be the Finns are swapping to a zone blocking scheme from a man blocking scheme. I guess the whole thing with the zone is a bit more complicated than the man. They ran the man because they had 3 rookies starting last year, so this year they're swapping to a zone blocking scheme. So we'll have to see how that helps and if that helps improve their run game at all. And I think that's pretty much everything I had to say about the O-line. I don't want to ramble on too much at the end of this video here, so let's wrap it up with thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, like it. If you want to see more Dolphins content, subscribe, because as we get into training camp here, going to be covering all the news and then obviously preseason games and regular season. So if you want to see more Dolphins content, hit that subscribe button. Leave any comments letting me know what you think about the O-line, how I can improve these videos. I'm always looking for new comments, and until then, thanks for watching, everybody, and hopefully I see you in the next video.